Hey guys, welcome back to my next art book preview video. This week we have Designing Dragons, an artist's guide to the legendary mythical creatures. So this one is quite a thick hardback book. So a quick look at the front and back there. Let's get straight into it. So the first thing to mention is we have this sort of pouch on the back. So if we take a look at the front cover again, that bit is this image here, and you can change this out. So if you give me a second, I'll see if I can show you this. So it's a little bit stiff to get the images out, but I think we've just about got them. Okay, so let's take a look at each of these. This is the one that is already the preset that comes with it, let's call it. There is a different image on the back of each of these. So we've got two images there, another two there, and another two there. So obviously, should you want to, you can slide an image in here. And of course, change the cover like so. So I'm not going to change it to each and every one because I think you guys get the idea. But yeah, it's a pretty cool feature. Okay, so getting straight back into it now. For those of you that have watched some of my older videos, you might actually recognize this image in the back, or at least recognize the style. That is by the artist known as Dibujante Nocturno. Sorry if I'm pronouncing that incorrect. So I'll just show the cover of his book. This is another 3DTOTAL book. This was actually probably one of my favorite books. It's a really nice one. Some sort of like dark creatures and obviously dragons and things like that throughout. So links to that in the description box below. But aside from that, here is the contents of the book. So feel free to pause the video and take a proper read through that. So the book actually starts with like an introduction of the two artists mentioned at the beginning there, discussing their experience and mythology and creature design and all that good stuff, and hopefully it's going to talk us through how to use the book. I haven't read through this book yet, by the way. I only just got this through. I did flick through it just because I wanted to have a quick look before I started recording. But often with new books, and this one has just released, I like to flick through them on camera, give my thoughts as I look through it for the first time. So we have a whole range of illustrations already, or sketches and silhouettes. I actually think some of these are absolutely stunning. It's all well and good having a good book, you know, that teaches you how to draw, teaches you dragon design, for example. But at the end of the day, if you don't like the style, if you don't like the sketches, if you don't find them inspiring, then probably not the right book for you. Whereas at least this one is full with some really talented artists. So a little bit here about like the texture and colour. I will say that when it comes to scales, well, I'm a big fan of like drawing dragons and any sort of creature like this, but the thing that puts me off drawing them the most is actually drawing the scales. Anyone that draws a lot of dragons knows that it can be quite tedious, but you never know. Maybe this book will give us some tips on how to manage that kind of thing, because that would be cool. So anyway, after that first section, we are up to the main bulk of the book, which is the dragons. So this is, I think it was 13 projects by 13 different artists. You have this sort of beginning overview that tells you almost the brief or the characteristics of this dragon. For example, this one here talks about, it's not a dragon that I'm familiar with, but it talks about how it was an ant-based diet. So the artist looked at like anteaters and their long noses and, you know, tried to incorporate these sort of features into the design. So yeah, these designs are pretty cool, as you're going to see throughout. But what I mean is a lot of the decisions in this, you know, they're not just random. There is a reason behind everything. So yeah, 13 projects. Some of them I have heard of, like a cockatrice or cockatrice, however you want to say it. And, you know, it's got the standard Eastern dragons, Western dragons, wyverns, things like that. But there are also some that I'm less familiar with. Some, you know, as much as I like mythology, I don't necessarily know loads about it. So really interesting designs throughout, to say the least. Some really colourful ones as well. And I know that the book talks about, even just on the blurb, it talks about using animal anatomy or real life creatures to develop these dragons, because obviously there's no dragons to actually be able to study from. But when it comes to anatomy and things like that, you know, we have to base them off something. One of the artists does talk about how that can be challenging depending on the build of the dragon. There's certain pages looking at different wing types. I mean, there's absolutely loads to talk about with this book. Again, throughout me looking through it, and just quickly before recording, the sketches and the artwork, the illustrations throughout are absolutely awesome. And seeing as this is a 3DTOTAL book, I also wanted to mention these two that I've got videos on. So we've got Fundamentals of Creature Design, quite a heavy overlap with that one, as you can imagine. And then this one, another hardback that's pretty decent in size. This one was one of my first videos that I actually previewed on camera, and it was really popular. So this is Mythical Beasts. Again, that was like, different artists giving different projects, different creatures. So I guess very similar to this, but obviously this one focuses more on dragons. But aside from those other 3D books I just showed, 3D Total do actually have more books related to this. So a lot of you guys will be familiar with the Sketching from the Imagination series. They do have a creatures book of that. I actually don't own that one. But yeah, it's really cool. I think that's like 50 different artists. Very inspiring. Less of a step-by-step like this one, but very inspiring and good for ideas. Personally, I'm not actually huge on step-by-steps normally, because it reminds me of something that I would have had more as when I was like a kid. Step-by-step, a simple how to draw this. But as you can see, this isn't really a, draw a circle followed by another circle, holding your hand kind of step-by-step. This is more of like an insight, a thought process into these artists' work, seeing how they research the project, seeing their process throughout. So I just checked and there is almost 280 pages, I think. I'm skipping through quite a lot of this now. Hazim Amin, apologies if I'm saying the artist's name wrong, but I speak to him online. Really nice guy. He features in quite a lot of the 3D Total art books, such as like the Frank Frazetta one, for example. He has a project in that. He does some really cool creature designs. You guys get the idea of what's included. There is a gallery at the back as well, so let's take a quick look at the gallery. But damn, look how cool some of these creatures are. Really colourful designs as well on some of them. Something for everyone, I think, in this book. So before we get to the end, just a shout out to some of the other dragon art books I've got. I'll put links to all these in the description box below, but we've got Dracopedia and Dragon Art. Basically, these ones range quite a lot in style. But if you're a fan of drawing dragons or anything art related to dragons, I think you will like some of those. One of them, the Dragon Art one, is a bit more cartoony anime. Looks a little bit more simple, but still got some really cool designs. The William O'Connor Dracopedia ones, on the other hand, are quite realistic. So a quick flick through of the gallery of some of these artists. And again, Debujante Nocturna is in this bit as well. Only a somewhat small section of the book compared to the rest, but still some really cool designs throughout. I've shown way too much of this already though, guys. Still loads to show, but I think you get the idea of what's included now. So I'll put links to all this stuff in the description box below as usual. If you did enjoy the video, make sure you subscribe to the channel. It really helps me out a lot and means I can keep making more content like this. But aside from that, guys, thank you for watching.